Okay, welcome, Melanie. It's been a long time, my friend.
Indeed, and it's very good to be here again.
Oh, I'm so happy. You have no idea how much I've missed you and just hope for you to be well and for things to getting better.
hmm Well, we hope that will be the case. Yeah.
Well, yes, yes, we.
We're
So,
doing everything for it. Yeah.
yeah, and, at some point there has to be a turning point because I'm hearing more and more reports from people that are suffering with this same kind of insanity that just invades a person's life. And I know you have a guest ready, but you let me know when you want me to add him to the program.
Oh, he can be added right away, so it's no
Okay.
problem. He can be goes on.
Okay, that's fine. Yes, because I'd like to have him give a little bit of his background. I mentioned your
Sure.
organizations, but many people are not aware of what the term covert harassment means. So,
Well,
um,
hopefully we can enlighten them a little bit in this program.
definitely, yes. Okay, so, okay, I have to add him the other way. Let's not mess things up, Robin. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to get him on right now. And all right. So I know you have a conference coming up. And where is the location for that conference?
Indeed. So it's going to be in Berlin.
Okay.
Uh, yes, in the conference center, the Factory Forum. And we're very excited about this because this is the second covered harassment conference that we're organizing. The first was in Brussels. Uh, and we really have a number of very prominent speakers talking there. So we're very proud of this achievement and we're very much looking forward to it.
Hello. Hi.
Hi. Thank you for joining us. You're live on the air. Melanie is just telling the audience a little bit about the conference, and then I'd love to hear about you.
Okay.
Okay, bear with us. Okay, go ahead, Melanie. So this is coming up in Berlin, and the dates again?
It's the 1st and the 2nd of October. So
Okay.
it's very soon, and we're this is a conference about what we call covert harassment, which means there are people that are electronically and non-electronically harassed. That means there are basically two aspects to this. First of all, we have got people that are attacked by directed energy weapons and tortured. So this is talking about illegal radiation weapons testing and torturing people. Some of them, not all of them, but some of them have also been illegally implanted with implant technologies, covertly brought into their bodies without their consent. And then the second aspect we're going to touch on in this conference is what we call organized stalking or gang stalking. That means people being harassed by a group of individuals, like coming into their home, ransacking their property, ransacking their car, as it has happened to me so often. So this is this kind of non-electronic harassment. It's basically a psychological warfare tool
Yeah.
used against citizens. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I thank you for that clarification. And we definitely need more. And I encourage you to post in the Event Horizons groups.
Mm-hmm.
There's a new one that I formed on Facebook. And if you could share information about your organizations and about this coming conference, that would be wonderful. I will have it on my Facebook page as well, but it would be good to have that in the group. And, we need to get more perspective on this for the audience so that it's not something that's not part of their awareness until it hits them.
Yes, absolutely. And it wasn't, at least it wasn't part of mine until I fell victim to this and my family. But yeah, it is definitely a growing number of people, exponentially growing number of people complaining about these crimes, being victims, falling victim to this crime. And so we really thought it is high time that we organize such a conference, bring all experts together talking about this subject. Like we have Dr. Nick Begich, who is, if I'm not mistaken, the eldest son of Congressman Nick Begich,
Yes,
Senior.
and a good friend of mine.
Yes, and he's very well known, and he's also been in the European Parliament giving a demonstration about HARP, the HARP system,
Sure.
and what that can do. And following to this, the European Parliament actually issued a resolution with the intent of banning any technologies that would be enabling the manipulation of human beings. So that's pretty important. So he will be our keynote speaker. He'll open the conference, and then there are various other people. It's like Ola Damagard, who's a former journalist. He's also an author. He was risen awareness to the subject for various years already. We will have Dr. Henning Witte, who's our legal advisor, just to remind people that our organizations are called the European Coalition Against Covert Harassment, so UCATCH. And then our American partner organization is ISAAC, the International Center Against Abuse of Covert Technologies. So where we will also have representation, because we have now also Dr. Hall, who's just accepted to be our speaker, Dr. John Hall, who's been one of the spearheads in the fight against these crimes, these electronic crimes. So we have various we also have Professor Ole Johansen, who I think we can be very proud of that he is accepted. He is a professor at the Karolinska Institute. He will talk about the adverse health effects of modern electronic fields from wireless telecommunication, such as mobile phones and Wi-Fi.
Ah, yes. I have someone else I'll put you in touch with that's in Europe, and I just have to remember to connect you with him.
Oh, yeah, that would be very good. So
yes.
he's a part of the Department of Neuroscience in the Karolinska Institute, which is in Stockholm, Sweden, which is, I think, Europe's largest and most prestigious university in Europe. So we have really a number of quite high-level speakers at this conference, and we're really looking forward to it.
Well, I'm very excited to hear about it, and please make sure that the information is out there so I can help promote it and do what I can. I'll get in touch with Nick and see about getting him on, and I'll get you in touch with this other gentleman. I'll share your contact information on Skype with him, and I'll give you some of his background. I found him on LinkedIn. I've interviewed him. He lectures in Europe. He's a professor at some universities, so he will be a wonderful addition to your group. So now we have you waiting. My pleasure. My pleasure. Anything I can do to help, please just let me know. So, Edward.
All right.
It's good to meet you.
Thank you.
Tell us a bit about yourself and how you got into this arena.
Well, I got into this arena by studying conspiracy. I decided in about 1996 that I would study hidden power and find out how the world works. And that's what I've been doing. And I went with Melanie to Austria, a very exciting trip. And, you know, I'm from the San Francisco area, and you've heard of the song, I Left My Heart in San Francisco.
Okay.
I have a new song, which is, I Left My Bank Account in Austria.
Well, my family is my roots are Viennese for my family, so I hope to be there sometime. But so tell me, what happened? It's very expensive there, or you just couldn't resist doing everything?
It costs a lot of money to get there, you know, to fly from San Francisco to get there. We encountered perps along the way.
Could you turn down your mic? Perhaps we're getting a lot of feedback.
Okay, from me.
I don't know. I don't know who it's from, but
how's that? Is that any different?
I will mute at the moment.
No, that's better right now. Yes, that made a difference. Thank you. Okay, so you made this expensive trip. There go my hopes for getting there. Okay.
Well, I mean, you can do it on as a pleasure tour. I thought it was going to be a business trip.
I don't have pleasure trips, so it's always business.
So yeah, but we got perped in the perp things. You know the expression perp. Am I using a?
I'm not quite sure. So it's always better to explain for an audience when you're on
Sure,
air. Sure.
sure. This comes from actually. I think we're coming out of Zersetzen, or even the German pronunciation, which is a Stasi technique of decay and destruction. You
It
die
comes from the
by
word perpetrator, in fact.
perpetrate. Yes, a
If I may
perpetrator.
add.
From a
Thank you.
perp.
I mean, that part I got. It's the common usage that leaves people not sure how you're applying it.
But anyway, we are overwhelmed. I'm not going to say we're overcome, but we're attacked by perps continually.
Okay.
And Melanie, I don't know if Melanie has described her apartment. She has a high lock, a medium lock, and a low lock. She has a burglar alarm. And when we go out of her apartment, we carry everything we possibly can that can be destroyed, because immediately the perps will come in and start wrecking her apartment. They go through the high lock, the medium lock, and the low lock. They go through the burglar alarm.
You mean
They
the
take out,
criminal perpetrators, the
right,
harassers?
these
Okay.
Yeah,
these
indeed,
freaks.
yeah.
Yeah, and I was taking a
You cannot
shower
leave
there.
anything in the apartment, especially before this trip. Any computer equipment, anything will be immediately destroyed. So we always looked packed like mules, basically, when we left the apartment, because it's just a reality. I cannot leave anything in here,
Oh
which
my
is
gosh.
already a great violation in anyway of your privacy. You never save at home, so to speak. Sorry,
So
Ed.
I was taking a shower and I couldn't get any hot water, and I called out to Melanie, and why my goodness, they had blocked the hot water line. That happened,
Once
and
more.
then I was sitting on the bed, the new bed that Melanie had, and it turned over, and its screws had been removed
Oh my
from the,
gosh.
and I guess flowers have been strewn around. I didn't see that. And there she has the lovely hardwood floors, but all the triangles have been pulled out here and there. And I kind of think they got to your dryer and washer too, because it really didn't dry anything. So I was,
Well,
Melanie was,
a few months ago, they created an inundation so that I had problems with my neighbors. There was a tube that I'd used for years, which was never a problem. And then suddenly there were apparently holes drilled into it. And so all of the washing, the soap water, ran down to my neighbor, who was not very pleased, understandably. So, yeah.
Melanie, things have just ramped up horrifically from what you're describing.
Yes, indeed. So there was a meeting with the mayor about this, because the entries into my home and ransacking of my property were really daily, especially in the ramp up to this to this trip. So there was really everything was done to prevent us from going there, including a car that I had rented, because we flew to Venice, in fact, and then drove up to Austria. And there was also a car rental where we arrived, and where they said that they would immediately take €1,000 deposit, which was absolutely unexpected, and that they would not make us a contract, so we couldn't get the car. So that Ed was saying that this was probably, and I agree, the last attempt to prevent us from going there.
well, I don't know if it was the last, but it was certainly, they wouldn't take,
Yeah.
they
Right
had, Melanie
there.
had paid part of it, and she had a down payment. And so I don't
was
think she could
unbelievable.
cover it with her card. So I said, well, I'll pay with my card. They said, oh no, the person who rents the car has to pay.
What kind
I
of
said, well,
nonsense is that? If you're
it's known as
standing there and you're
it's
signing.
perp nonsense.
Yeah.
So I said, well,
Yeah.
we've got cash. We can pay cash. They said, oh no, you can't rent a car with cash. Well, I said, well, how do people get to Austria if they can't rent a car? They said, well, you take a bus.
Yeah, he said, well, then
Yeah.
why don't you take a bus?
So Melanie lost her down payment. I went over
Oh no.
to budget. I'm going to say a good word for budget now, because the guy was not a perp there, and we got a car, marvelous little Fiat, which Melanie, the Fiat pilot, the Fiat Ace drove. But okay, so that's I left my bank account in Austria. That's
Yeah, I
part
mean, it
of
was
that story.
incredible.
Gotcha.
But these perps, I should describe what a perp is. They obviously, I think this comes from the Milgram experiment. I don't know if you remember that. It was some years back. But you have somebody in authority, a big white coat or something like that, and somebody is brought in to do something, which is to give somebody in a different room an electric shock. And they're keep turning it up, and the people who are doing it get a little nervous about that, and the white coat says, "Oh, that's okay. Go ahead. No, go ahead." And it will turn out that under the influence of authority, a lot of people will keep turning up the voltage, supposedly, until the person in the next room does not respond. So that's the Milgram experiment. So this is an unfortunate human characteristic.
Right, where when people are removed, they will just increase the torture of another person. And they're not face to face.
They just do a little bit. And all of the perps, most of the perps, looks like they're just doing a little bit, turning off the water heater, taking out a little, wrecking a lock. They're all doing this, and it adds up to a massive decay. Of course, if you get 1,000 people doing something to somebody, it adds up. And this is what it is. And I think the perps, as things, may fall into the category of para-homo sapiens. And this is from Lobachevsky, who wrote the book Political Ponerology, which is the effect, essentially, that we're controlled by psychopaths, and that the para-homo sapiens are, in fact, psychopaths are not up to human standards. And by human standards at this point, we're putting in ethics, compassion, love, and stuff like that. They're devoid of that. And you may have
Okay, Edward, we're going to break. If you can hold on to that.
I'll hold on to that.
We will pick up with more when we return for the last half hour of Event Horizons. And my friends, lots of information that you need to get out there and share, because you've got the power to make it better. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Please mute your mics.
Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent news story, and I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Hey folks, you got the Nighthawk here. Do you have a favorite host? Well, imagine if you will having all the broadcast shows from 2013 to listen to anytime you want. Awesome deal, huh? Anyway, so stop by freedomslips.com and order the entire 2013 library of your favorite host for just $30. Not only do you help with the station funding to keep us on the air, you also help the host because they get half of the net on every order. Also, we have Revolution Radio's all-time favorite shows all on one disc. The details are really broad, so you'll have to visit the website and go look at the details yourself. It's, again, www.freedomslips.com/season2013.htm. And get your favorites. First come, first serve, 7 to 21 days for delivery. Thank you. This is Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, where information never sleeps, including me. Later.
We've got to stop them! They're going to kill us all!
This is Thomas, a.k.a. a Mad Painter. I'd like you to join me Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Open Canvas. Don't forget to bring an open mind.
Yes, folks, that's right. Bring an open mind to an open canvas. Again, that is Monday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern. UFOs to government corruption. This is Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. You don't need to expect us. We're already here. The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
And we are back. I'm your anchor, Dr. Robin Falkov, also your producer, and we're listening to Event Horizons. We come to you on freedomslips.com in Studio A. Find us at, there are many other ways to listen in online or on the different apps that you can download for the listen in, tune in, different apps to listen to radio programming. So take advantage of them. And tomorrow morning we have coming up team member Adam Weissman. We will be talking about the trade agreement hells and what is going on. Are they doing some fancy footwork to get things pushed through before the end of the year? What we can do to make a difference. And then we will have Keith McHenry of Food Not Bombs, and he's got a lot to share with us. We've got lots of updates. So right now we're back with Melanie Vrinchin and Edward. Let me get what is your last name, Edward? Spencer. Okay. And Edward Spencer. So you were talking about perps, which are those people that are the infiltrators, the harassment teams that go in to just try to make life a living hell so people will cease and desist from their efforts to change things, to make the world a better place. So we get all of that, and I'm glad you laid out the extremes that they go to with stealing things as soon as an apartment is left and taking screws out of a bed. Absolute craziness. So are you now actively involved in the organizations that Melanie is working with, or what is the focus of your work, Edward?
Well, okay, I'm involved with UCASH, and I'm also involved with ISA ACTA, which is sort of the American or the U.S. Version, an International Center Against Abuse of Covert Technologies. That's what that stands for.
Okay.
And what I'm of course involved with the technical aspects. You cannot not be involved in some degree, but I feel that I'm let's say I think that people should be 85%ers or 90%ers, that they devote 85% of their time to futzing around with the technical aspects. And that's always a problem because, the perps, and by that I mean large universities, the military, NASA, all of those have a budget of billions, trillions, and we run around with pfennigs, so to speak. So working on the technical aspects is difficult. But I think that the ethical orientation is what we need to really concentrate on. Because, if somebody builds something, some guy designed something at University of Twente, isn't that the one who built the thing, the choke technology, Melanie? Is that Twente?
Yes. Well, it's the Institute of Nanotechnology of the University of Twente.
So, okay, so we're working to try and get rid of that new technology. I would like to get rid of the guy who invented it, Why isn't he in prison? Or somewhere else. And if you have to look at what the people are doing, this is a serious situation of treason against Homo sapiens, against the human species. This is really what's going down, because you look at civilization is under attack everywhere. And humans are under attack everywhere. So you guys that are doing this are really committing a crime, which I don't think has been well defined.
I think it's unprecedented, this kind of crime against humanity.
To make
to
it
add
Yeah,
something.
excuse me, Edward. It's really challenging having more than one person on because you guys can't talk over each other. So let's have Melanie make her point. Go ahead, Melanie.
I just wanted to make one point because we just talked about the University of Twente in the Netherlands, where it's not even hidden. It's actually quite open on their website. If you read between the lines, you don't even have to read so much between the lines, what they're doing, what kind of really assassination technology is produced in these labs. So we're talking about the Netherlands. I would just like to point out that last year was the first Covert harassment conference in the world. At least to my knowledge. And this year we have broadened it. We have, even more support. We have more and more associations coming together, working together to stop these crimes. And this conference we're actually organizing in collaboration with our Dutch partners. And a Dutch foundation which is called STOPEC, so it's Stop Electronic Weapons, Stop Gang Stalking, I believe. And then, which is new, this was already the case last year, and which is new this year is that we are working together with a new association in Poland, which is very active. I mean, they're very good in the fight against these crimes, which is called StopZ. It's also against electromagnetic torture, I think. And then the German association we're working with, managed by Harald Brems, is called Initiative gegen elektromagnetische Folter. Initiative Against Electromagnetic Torture. So I think it's important to mention that we're kind of, this is growing, and the more and more associations are working together to end these crimes against humanity.
Very important work. And it's, there are so many dedicated people out there, and yet the mainstream just ignores this. Everybody's written off as kooks, ridicule the messengers.
Correct, yeah. But we do hope that with so prominent people like Dr. Nick Bagage and Ole Johansson, Professor Ole Johansson, and Ole Dammergaard, and Carl Clark, who's a Secret Service whistleblower who's been attacked with these weapons himself when he, as it's so often the case when they blow the whistle. There will be, it will result, I hope, in some mainstream media interest as well. So
most definitely.
At the moment, we have a very good Polish TV that will cover the whole event, which is called NTV. The Polish journalist was already there in Brussels last year. This time they're coming with a bigger team, and this is a little bit, I would say, like the Polish Alex Jones. So they have quite some views, and we hope that this will result in also some mainstream media interest.
Outstanding. Well, I'm getting some other ideas as well with some of my friends from the Netherlands. And maybe I can connect you with one of them as well. Maybe there's something where you guys can help each other out.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, definitely. So I sent you the contact information for Darius, and that's on LinkedIn. And when I'm off the air, I'll try to give you the Skype contact, but it's a new format, so bear with me and I'll get it to you. I don't want to cut you off. That's okay. For sure. So, Edward, tell us a little bit about some of the other things that you do, or is this your focus? Are you?
Well, I focus on conspiracy. I'm a conspiracy theoretician, because the general IQ, which is in the single digits, does not allow the concept of conspiracy to have any validity. But I want to say something about Melanie's apartment. This Zerzetson, this destruction, these perps couldn't function if they weren't covered by the police. Melanie has written so many reports. I don't know how many trees went down to send these reports out, but the police won't do anything. And they say, well, you need to get a picture. Well, of course, all electronics get sapped and fried. So Melanie, I don't think, has ever been able to get a decent picture. So
no.
The police chief over there is in her area is Eddie something. I thought it's Eddie. It's a.
Yes, Eddie van der Kerkhove.
Yeah, I thought it
But
was Anus, but okay.
no,
Um,
Eddie van der Kerkhove. But just to say about the picture or the evidence, I didn't succeed in getting a decent picture. Also, the police has not put very much effort in actually proving these crimes, although I had, I think, quite some evidence that there were illegal entries into my home. But my neighbor, and she gave a written statement regarding this, was approached by two unknown men and she saw them coming out of my flat. And they said that they were real estate agents. And that they were basically selling my flat for me. I've never put up my flat for sale.
Oh, gosh.
Yes, and that they had just come out of my flat, it was a visit or so, and that I would be quickly gone. That were their words, quickly gone. And or if she knew of any other flats or that were for rent or for sale in this building, because they were very interested in this building. And they gave her a card, which unfortunately she threw away because she believed them at that time.
Yeah.
But she gave this written statement to the local police, saying that she had seen these men coming out of my flat and that they claimed to be real estate agents, which was clearly a lie, and that I would be quickly gone. And I believe that was done because, and they asked for the two other flats to rent or to sale here. And I believe this was to be closer to me, to be able to commit their crimes against me with a greater ease. And also, I think if I was going to disappear, so that probably my neighbor wouldn't be that alerted, because they would have thought that I probably had sold the flat or whatever,
Incredible. Absolutely incredible.
So
Yeah.
we have some evidence, which is, I think, irrefutable.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
we should say something about the city of Richmond and the
Correct.
passing the anti space weapon bill, which of course was from Dennis Kucinich and
Carol Rosin.
Yeah, Carol Rosin wrote that, and that's an important thing to try and get the cities or higher government agencies in some way involved.
Well, and it's very intriguing because a lot of the technology that is being perpetrated upon people like Melanie is done by satellites.
Right.
And, people are not aware of that. So, yeah, some responsibility and accountability in that area would be wonderful.
Yes, what I can say to you is that once we were in Austria with all of the other harassment we had to deal with, was that when we finally succeeded in renting this budget car, we drove we can say it, we met a team of engineers regarding these issues. And we drove, after them, they drove in front of us and we were following them. And it was really in the middle of the mountains in Austria. Really not an area where you would expect a lot of mobile phone antennas or anything like ground-based technology like this. And I was hit really on the head and on the stomach, so it was making me feeling very nauseous, and I had problems driving the car constantly. And that can only have happened by satellite, because I kind of, with this technology in my body, it's like wearing a GPS.
Yeah,
with you.
sure.
So
they track you wherever you go, and people
wherever you
don't
are,
understand
they have
that. Yeah.
wherever you are. So then you just bounce it down from the ionosphere, basically. So I was very clearly hit in an area, in the middle of the mountains where there were almost no mobile phone antennas. So that was clearly by satellite.
So it sounds, Edward, here you are for years looking at conspiracy issues, and you make your trip to meet. That was the first time you met Melanie?
No, I've been over there before for the first conference.
So then your visits there brought reality home with a horrific impact to see just how extensive these conspiracies are.
Well, actually, I know, but the conspiracy is far more complex than what I encountered. What was brought home was perps, little tiki things on the ground and
Yeah.
encountering that.
When they attack individuals,
Yeah,
we know
yeah.
about the governments and the larger scale of things, but the audience doesn't really get that they will go to those extremes to harass individuals.
Well,
That's
the audience probably doesn't know that we don't have a government, that we have a corporation, that the actual government
my
folded up.
audience. My audience
that?
has those basics.
Good.
So the majority, yes.
Good. Then the question is, what's at the top? What's running the thing at the top? We have, of course, the World Bank and the IMF and Mossad and all of that. But what I've been pushing on for since I started this was, how does the whole situation work? And I reached conclusions that are essentially based on the fact that something that's not taught at school, of the entire Earth was mapped during the Ice Age, all of it.
Yeah,
So
there are
that means
maps that have been found, before the Peri-Reyes maps.
Yeah. So who did that? Could we be dealing now with an ancient world order rather than a new world order? I think so.
Well,
And the question...
there have been many periodic resets for the planet. Get rid of the life forms on it and start over. And we're dealing with a lot that people don't have any idea of. So that's great areas that you are working on. I'm just trying to get to know a little bit more about you.
Okay. Well, ask away.
Yeah, I'm getting an understanding right now. I'd like to share a quote with you from one of my friends for years, who's been on the inside with many administrations, and his quote is that the lie is different at every level. And you think about that, and you have to think about it carefully because there are a lot of ramifications as how do you get people to do things. And one of the best ways is by telling them it's a matter of national security or people's lives are at risk or whatever. And we need you to do this to make a difference. And, and then they pass it on and it gets passed on and passed on. But when you were saying who's at the top, that's the big conundrum, because there are factions that are vying with each other. So have you come to any conclusions as to who's at the top?
I think it's likely crypto-terrestrials and large brain species. That and this is just another thing like the maps. You don't learn about those in college or high school. And there are these large skulls around, cone-shaped skulls, and there's something called Homo capensis, which was one studied by Robert Broom, and I think found in 1913, something like that. And the neuroscientists Lynch and Granger in the book Big Brain gave an estimated IQ, and of course this is not truly IQ, but an average IQ of 149 for this thing, and what made 10% of the population is 180. So right there, you have something that looks like it could map the Earth.
Yeah, it's kind of a nebulous kind of assessment where you're going by skull size to determine IQ. Is that what you're saying?
Well, what they said is the association areas would increase by a certain amount for an increase in brain size.
Yeah, it
and
doesn't.
So the brain size is 30% larger than human.
Yeah, so you could extrapolate that there's a difference, but it's kind of, a gray area. But interesting. Are you familiar with Brian Forster and the large skulls? Yeah, Brian has done outstanding work with that.
And I think that species is probably dominant above Homo capensis, because of their brains. The conehead brain size looks to be significantly larger than even Homo capensis, which is 30% larger than ours. And it's pretty clear that ethics is not the strong point of whatever's running the place.
Yeah, that's a real safe understatement for sure. Oh my gosh, what a sad commentary. But the more people that wake up, the more networking that we do just in neighborhoods, You know, that's where we have our power base, when we start with the people in our communities, and that's how we make changes. And then, of course, we have brave souls like Melanie that take on the political establishment and run for office. I mean, gosh,
Well,
Melanie.
we haven't been elected, but that's not,
Well, not yet.
that's not yet, yeah. Not giving that up, but yeah, it's true what you say, Robin, that I mean, personally, I had given up with my family. I thought, okay, they're never going to get it. It's a waste of time to try to wake them up or convince them, or so I hadn't, I continued with people that were open to this, and I had kind of given up. But after a time, I'm very surprised to see that now it's actually them coming to me and say, well, Melanie, this what you told me about. I've studied it, I've looked at it, and they're kind of starting to realize that what I said is probably not that wrong,
Oh
and
my
it
God.
could actually be totally correct. So I think with time and patience and just continuous efforts and not giving up, because we're telling the truth. I mean, it's
Sure.
nothing but the truth.
Let's make one point for the audience as well, that you have vindication from physicians stating what has been done to you and stating
Right.
that you are a totally competent person, and that's a big deal.
Yeah, indeed. Expert affidavits. I've got from one psychologist, one psychiatrist, total clean mental health bills, saying that I have no mental health problems whatsoever and do not suffer from any kind of delusions. And as you know, Robin, the custody of my son has been removed from me. So the psychiatrist also added that I was very capable of raising my son correctly by myself. So I've really quite substantial proof about these crimes being done to me.
I remember, unfortunately, the scope of all of these nightmares that you're living with, and I'm so glad that you have an ally like Edward. It's good. It's good to know that for some of these things, Melanie's not out there alone. That you've been there, Edward, because just what you're sharing, I mean, it's absolutely horrifying. Will you be able to get to the conference, Edward?
No, I left my bag. with Firefly or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'm going to be able to make that. But I want to add, Robin, I want to make a
we've
case
just
for
got a couple of minutes, so please go ahead. Get that
okay,
in.
for the Texans nationalist movement. Texans wants to get out of the United States.
Yes.
And I think that's a very important thing to do, because it's an organization. It's a opposition to position to clarify what's going on, and everything is so bad. We really need to rebuild human society, the human mind. It's such a shambles. So I think it's important to support Texas in that movement. I'm going to be on a phone bank here from California. So I urge everyone to support the Texas nationalist movement.
Okay. Well, the other physician who's on our board, on the ISAC board, is Dr. John Hall, and he happens to be from Texas.
Okay.
And he will be a speaker at our conference. So
okay, and
this time we will unfortunately not have Ed. We were lucky to have him last time, and this time we will have Dr. Hall.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. It sounds like a wonderful lineup, and I will be speaking with Nick, and perhaps I can get some other shows to pick Nick up to cover this, and to have you as well.
That would be very much appreciated. Yes.
Yeah, and we can talk about this off air for some of my friends that are in the UK to see about connecting you. And
yeah, we just have to be quick, because the conference is on the 1st and the 2nd of October already.
Yeah, well, we can speak
we have
when
2 more weeks. Yeah,
we can speak when we get off the air, so that's not a problem.
Okay.
Yeah, and because I just don't remember if I've connected you with some of these people or not, but we can go over that off air. What do you want to leave the audience with? Let's give them those dates again, so it stays in their minds.
Yes, 1st and 2nd of October in the Forum Factory in Berlin. And yeah, we'll hope to see you there.
Okay, and your contact information is available on Facebook. And
indeed, I am on Facebook. It was my name, Melanie Fritschan, so it should be quite easy to find me.
okay,
And there's also a YouCatch Facebook group where
wonderful.
if you are a victim or you know people that are victims or just are interested in the subject, then you are very free to join and to share your thoughts.
Well, I thank you for helping people that I have referred to you. That means a lot. You've given them some peace of mind. And it's wonderful to meet you, Edward. I thank you.
Thank you.
I thank you both for all the hard work that you're doing. Feel free to join Event Horizons discussions and post the information. Let's get it out there and stay on the line so we can do a little bit of brainstorming. So guys, don't forget, we will be back bright and early tomorrow morning with team member Adam Weissman talking about trade agreements and Keith McHenry to follow with Food Not Bombs. You got a lot of information, guys. Get out there and share it because you've got the power to make it better.
Thank you for listening to Revolution